right, it's 3 o'clock and welcome to the Summer Learning Blitz, digital tools to promote SEL in the classroom. We are so excited to have you here with us today as we explore the integration of digital tools and social emotional learning, otherwise known as SEL. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to have you sign in today, of course, by using the link in the chat. And by signing in, you're going to be able to receive Sketch, a copy of the PowerPoint that we're sharing today, and then also a video of the demonstration. So we'll go ahead and have you sign in using that link right in the chat, so that way you can grab the video later, get a copy of all the links and tools today, and also receive Sketch. Again, I'm thrilled to be here with you today. My name is Carol Ann Paul. I serve as the manager of state and federal programs and special populations at Wayne RESA. It's really an honor to connect with each of you today. And I'm joined by a remarkable instructional leader who brings a wealth of expertise and insight into this particular topic. Judy, feel free to introduce yourself.
Good afternoon. Like Carol said, we welcome all of you guys, and we are most appreciative that, especially on a Friday afternoon, that you have chosen to spend an hour with us. So we're excited to learn with you, and you are in good hands with Carol as she gets us started.
So during our presentation today, we're going to be, of course, discussing the importance of social emotional learning and introducing you to various tech tools that you can use in order to incorporate SEL actually into your teaching. We want to encourage you to be patient with yourself as you explore the tools and learn how to use them. This won't be an interactive webinar, but instead we're going to be doing a demo style presentation. And we're also, of course, going to give you a copy of the video, so that way you can pause, watch it at your own pace. You can replay it as needed. So also, if you feel inspired to try out a tool during the presentation, feel free to do so. Our goal is to really make this webinar personalized to your needs. So let's go ahead and get those ideas flowing. First thing that we're going to do to kick off the session is we're inviting you to be part of a Mentimeter activity. So grab your phones, your cell phones, because this is going to be a lot of fun. So here's what you're going to need to do. Go ahead and scan that QR code displayed on the screen. And once you do, a Menti page is actually going to open up. And we're going to be asking you a question all about what's your dream vacation, right? And also, we are going to be expressing ourselves, though. Instead of using words, we're going to be using emojis. So go ahead and grab those phones, tilt them up to the camera, and go ahead and scan that QR code. I can't wait to see where your dream vacation is. Ah, I see someone wrote a sun. I love it. Beautiful. Fiji. Oh, with family. And I see a lot of umbrellas and some tropical themes. Is this a staycation? We have someone with a home here. Beautiful. Ah, maybe sitting at home meditating. Someone said England. I see some special beverages here. Oh, another person said sleeping is a great vacation. Like maybe getting some rest. All right. Well, in line with that, thinking about vacation and taking care of ourselves and social emotional wellness, the CDC has a whole school, whole community, whole child model. It's a comprehensive framework that really prioritizes health in educational settings, centered on students. It highlights the significant roles of schools and communities in the nurturing and holistic type of approach for our students, right? So the model's arrangement with students at the core and the community kind of enveloping the outside really signifies the interplay between the health, academic excellence, and also community support. There are 10 components in blue that you'll notice, and we're going to really be focusing on the component all the way at the bottom called social and emotional climate. That's where we're going to spend our time today. Have you ever heard the saying Maslow before Bloom's? Well, it really serves as a reminder that it's important to prioritize a student's sense of safety and their fulfillment of basic needs and emotional well-being before actually challenging them with some complex cognitive activities. So embedding that social emotional learning within instruction is really a valuable approach to fostering student engagement in learning. And according to Castle, implementing SEL, it really involves providing students with ample opportunities to develop and practice social and emotional skills in a manner that is culturally sensitive and developmentally appropriate. We want to make sure we have those two things. So take a look at the framework on the screen. As you can see, the inner components focus on helping a student to understand and manage their own emotions, as well as cultivating interpersonal abilities like forming friendships and displaying empathy. These are all the things that we want for our students, of course. And when you get a copy of this PowerPoint, you're going to notice that there are some links embedded within the PowerPoint that you'll be able to explore as well. So in essence, SEL equips students to excel not only academically, but also in demonstrating kindness and empathy and really effective learning and social strategies as well. So we want to hear from you now. What SEL activities have you tried with your students? Why don't you go ahead and place those activities in the chat? What have you already tried in your classroom for SEL activities?
Carol, we're starting to see some daily check-ins, circles of understanding, affirmation of the day.
Ah, beautiful.
Morning meetings, closing circles. Again, lots of check-ins, morning meetings. Those are powerful. Restorative practice, quote of the day. Zones of regulation. Again, some more daily check-ins. Those are really powerful.
That's wonderful. So you have tried a lot of different things in the classroom, and I bet that has made a huge impact on your students. So what we're hoping today is for you to be able to have a few more tools in order to integrate technology into other parts of your lessons as well. So really the big question that we're going to focus on is, how can we leverage technology to increase and integrate SEL into the classroom? So I want you to keep this question in your mind as we begin moving forward. How about a virtual classroom? It's really an online space designed to provide students with tools and resources to manage their emotions, reduce stress, and find a sense of calm. And this is very similar to a physical calming space in a school, but a virtual one offers a variety of activities and techniques that really help a student to cope with challenging feelings, especially in situations where they might not have access to that physical calming space in the actual building. So I had a child in my own classroom who always had a pair of earbuds with him. And when he felt upset or stressed, he would put the earbuds in and he would watch a video like the ones you're seeing on the screen here. And it really helped him to be able to self-regulate. And isn't that what we want for our students, is for them to be able to monitor their own emotions, to be able to regulate themselves and find strategies that are really good for them. So this is an example of a visual relaxation tool. They also, of course, have mindfulness. There are coloring activities now that you can do online, puzzles that you can do online. And so what we've done here is we have actually curated a whole bunch of these different resources in one PowerPoint for you so that you can explore and determine what's best for your students. And I think that Judy is going to put them in the chat for you as well, that link, so that you can have access to a litany of tools and resources so that you don't have to go online and find them. We've found the best ones for you already. So another way that you can embed SEL in your lessons throughout the day is through check-ins. And you guys had talked about check-ins and in the chat when we had asked you what some of the strategies that you're doing. So we want to be able to give you an effective way to create these check-ins. These are quick, they're effective to bringing social emotional learning to life in your classroom. And we're going to do a quick overview to talk about maybe why they're important and how you can make your kids really connect with these. So one way is through mood scales. Have you used a mood scale in your classroom already? This is a great way to integrate, let's see, emotional check-ins, and they typically consist of a range of emotions, like kind of arranged on some sort of continuum or scale or spectrum. And it really allows students to figure out where they fall on the spectrum so that they can recognize their own emotions at any given moment. So one way that you can actually connect with your students is to personalize the mood scales for your class. And we're going to show you how to do that today. Or how about personalizing it based on your content, right? This one is about William Shakespeare. I love this on a William Shakespeare scale from 1 to 9. How are you feeling today? Think about that, ELA classroom. I think that students would really connect with some of those pieces, especially if that is related to your content. There are other teachers who have built these out as well. So I want to show you some mood scales that teachers have made that they personalized for their students. I had a teacher who loved elephants and her students knew that about her. So she made an elephant scale. And another teacher was really into birds and nature. So he made the bird scale. Another teacher knew that her students loved dogs. And so she made a dog scale. How about pizza? A lot of kids love pizza. So want your child or your students, to really express themselves. How about having them relate to that? I just thought this chicken one that a teacher made was hilarious. And then there's also the bicycle scale. There was a teacher that was really into, bikes, and he made this particular bike scale, again, to connect to himself and to share a little bit with his students about himself. Or you could create a mood scale thinking about your students and what they like. So how do you make a mood scale? One way you can do that is through a Canva. So through Canva, you can make a mood scale, and it's just canva.com. You might have already been there before. It's a pretty common tool now that I'm seeing, of course, on TikTok, I'm seeing on the internet, but I'm also seeing, some advertisements while I'm watching Hulu as well, Canva advertisements. So it's pretty popular. But you can get in there because they have some nice templates that are already made for you. So think around that. If there is a template in there that's like a 4-square or an 8-square grid, you can create one of these mood scales just like that really, really quickly. So I'm going to pick this 9 photograph, and I'm going to customize it so that it meets my needs in the classroom. So canva.com, it does allow you to have a free account, sign up as a teacher, and you'll get some extra resources here. So I'm going to say on a scale of cat. And notice that the graphics or the toolbar is very similar. It does remind me a little bit of Word or something in Google as well. It's pretty intuitive. And so you can just go ahead and change the text as needed. You can change the color of the text too. So maybe I might pick red, or I might pick purple or green. Lots of different, of course, selections for you. But think about how wonderful this would be if you knew that one of your students in your class that you wanted to connect with loved dinosaurs. Yeah, I'd make a dinosaur sale for him. And I'd tell everyone too, I made this because Johnny loves dinosaurs, right? To help our students connect with each other as well. So I'm going to change out some of these pictures, and I just clicked on elements on the side, and now I'm just going to type in cat and it's going to pop right up. There we go. And there are lots of different photos. What's nice about Canva is that once you have the template that basically they've really made for you, all you're doing is dragging and dropping that cat right over, and it overrides the photo that's already in the square. So that's pretty nice, right? Not a lot of positioning and, all of those things that you would normally have to do if you were to create it in Word. It's already done for you. And oh my gosh, look at all these cute cats. I'm going crazy for them, by the way. And notice that it also changes it to grayscale too. So I didn't even have to change like the color. It kind of beautifies it for you all in one. I love that one of the cat. So silly. So you can put numbers on your scale as well. This helps for kids to be able to say maybe on their fingers, I'm a number 1 today, or I'm a number 2. And one thing that I used to have kids do in the classroom is I would ask them to do this numbering on their fingers by their heart, right? Like they don't have to raise their hands to tell everyone where they are at on a scale. They could potentially do it, a little bit more private by their heart, or you could ask them to pick it out in their head. Say, in your head on a scale of cat, I feel what today, right? And so you can go ahead and have them do it privately, or again, by their heart might be another instance as well. So Canva is a great tool for doing some of those mood scales. And the demo of Canva is embedded right in the PowerPoint. Just got to click on that demo so that you can forward. Let's see, you can go fast forward, replay, all of those great things. So you can start from scratch in Canva. You can use Google Drawings, but there's also an activity in here that we want you to build upon. So we have presented this presentation at McCall. We also presented it at bits and pieces at the Michigan Reading Association and at other schools across Wayne County. And we have a bit.ly here where you can actually put in whatever you make. So if you make something for your class and you think that is so fun, I bet another teacher might like it, we want to encourage you to give one and place it into this PowerPoint that we're curating for anyone who comes to the presentation, of course. And then get one. So come in here and see if there's anything that you really liked that you want to grab. Like, how about these dogs? Adorable. On a scale of Ted Lasso. So people had some really great ideas. So give one, get one. You can also have your kids make these for you too. So if you have students who have they're so technologically they're so savvy in technology, right? So you could also have your kids make these for you too. All right, now I am going to hand it over to Judy, who's going to talk with you a little bit about Flip.
So another tool that many of you may be familiar with is Flip, formerly known as Flipgrid, which if you're not familiar with it, it's a simple way to create short video-based discussions on a variety of classroom topics. You can post discussion prompts and your students can respond with short videos or text or both. They also have the option to, like I mentioned, to respond with comments. It's everything they need to tell their story, including text, emojis, drawing tools, boards, screen recordings, and the ability to upload clips if they want to. One of the benefits of using Clip is that it's a tool that lifts every voice. It's a great way to provide opportunities for students to develop their voice and to also give them opportunities to just communicate effectively with their classmates. And so some of the ways that this can connect to SEL, as Carol's been talking through, and many of you put in the chat that you're already doing, are some daily check-ins. And so even though when we were online with COVID, we were really tapping into these virtual daily check-ins, even though we're mostly in person now, this is still a great way to check in with your students and see how they're doing. It helps to build trust and rapport, not only with you as their teacher, but also with each other. And they feel that they're being heard and they're valued and are connecting. Another way is to just send some positive vibes. So it could be something as simple as just checking in and letting people know, how they're doing, giving some affirmations in a way that's captured into a collection of topics around these positive vibes. It could be a stress reliever. So it could be that you as a teacher create a topic where kids are adding a joke of the day, something just to provide maybe some comedic relief or something to relieve that stress. We as humans need each other. And so we could use flip as a means to connect with one another, which we know that those connections help to lower anxiety and depression, helps to build empathy and aids in self-esteem. And then lastly, self-reflection. So you can offer a variety of topics that help our kids learn and have some awareness around their own emotions, their thoughts, their behaviors, their goals, their strengths and challenges, their mindsets, their biases, and really an endless topics that you could include with that reflection component. And then again, all of these layers together impact our behavior and our choices. And so by using flip in a variety of ways, it affords us the opportunity to create a safe space for our students to share some of their thinking. As you're creating these topics, there's a lot of settings that you can incorporate as well. And one of those is that you might choose to turn on the moderation component so that you approve things before they go live. So depending on what the topic is, that might be something you want to take into consideration, because students might be sharing things that are personal and may not want all of their peers to see that. In the slide deck, again, which will be shared with you, we do have a link here for a variety of topics and templates that you can build off of. And I'm just doing this in a demo mode right now because my internet was being a little junky earlier, but this link will take you to these. And so it's a great way in the beginning of the school year too, to just introduce one another, get the correct pronunciation of names, and sharing hobbies and interests and some of the other things that we mentioned as well. So flip is a great way to make those connections. Minecraft education version is another way that your kids can connect with one another and to build onto some of those skills that we mentioned. And so if you're not familiar with Minecraft, it is basically a virtual open world video game that's made up of blocks where players can dig, they can mine, they can build, they can craft, they can do a variety of things. It allows them to utilize their imagination. It could be something in the context of your curriculum, or it could be something that's completely imaginary. But it gives kids an opportunity in this safe digital world to be creative, to be problem solvers, to think creatively, to think critically, and to collaborate with one another. They're also making a lot of decisions, a lot of responsible decisions that also help them to build their empathy skills, interact with classmates, as well as different characters in the game. And so the link that's provided on there does provide some templates that you could have students build off of. So they've got some worlds that are already in place. So if you didn't want your students to start from scratch, there are some here that could be a starting point for them. Another great resource that many of you are probably familiar with is Pear Deck. For those that are not familiar with Pear Deck, it's basically a tool that allows you to add interaction to your presentation tool. So it can be used with either Google Slides or PowerPoint, and it allows you to embed and incorporate some questions that promote self-awareness into your regular lessons. So as with so many of these tools, you can start from scratch, or if you go to Pear Deck, they have some templates that are there already for you. So I thought what we would do is we would just jump into one of them, just so that you can see something that's already out there that you could do tomorrow. And so with that, it's a slide deck that is already made up, and I've already got the extension added to my slides. And I'm going to start the lessons, and we'll just go through a couple of these just so you can see what's possible. But again, if you're not familiar with Pear Deck, you could just start with a slide deck that you've already got created. Through the extension you see on the side, it gives me some elements that I can add. And so here's those interactions of adding text, a multiple choice, a number. You can have students draw, add a website, drag and drop. So those are the different elements that you can drag onto your slides to bring in that interaction with your students. But again, this is one that was already pre-made by Pear Deck. So if I start the lesson, and I'll put it into the instructor mode. So using your mobile device or phone or a new browser tab, if you would go to joinpd.com and enter the 6 letters that you see there, FAZXYJ. That'll give us a chance to try a couple of these. And as a teacher, I can see now that I have one person that has joined, so we'll give it a moment and allow a few others of you to join if you would like. So again, joinpd.com and then enter FAZXYJ. And while we're waiting, again, this is a template all built around SEL, but it might be that if you've got a presentation that you're working on with students, that maybe you just incorporate one of these slides. It's almost a brain break woven into the work that you're already doing. So I'm going to start the class. I know that we've got others that are out there, but I'm going to go ahead and start it. And the very first opportunity for you to do something interactive is what is filling your bucket today and what's draining it. And this is an interactive slide that allows you to draw. So if you are in the slide deck, you should see at the bottom of your screen some drawing tools where you can draw what's filling your bucket and then draw what's draining your bucket. And if nothing's draining, feel free to just add what's filling. Now, as the teacher kind of behind the scenes, I can show responses and I can see what it is that you are completing. So I can see that family is filling buckets. Somebody deleted some. This one is, the whole bucket must be drained for that one. So I have the option to do that. So again, this is one of the interactive tools to just capture the essence of where your students are at. So I'm going to hide those responses again and go to the next slide. So here's just another example of how you might check the pulse of where your students are at. And so this one is an example of a drag the icon to where you're feeling. Are you in a good space and you can focus right now on the Friday afternoon towards the end of summer? Or are you all the way on the opposite end of the spectrum of I cannot manage my emotions or behaviors right now? And so like I did before, I can show responses, and at a quick glance, I can see that most of you are in a good space. Some of you have got your mind maybe on some other things, but I am thankful that nobody's on the high end of being agitated right now. So again, that's just an example. I'm going to go ahead and end this session, and I'll end it without naming. It gives me some additional options that I can take this into my LMS and whatnot, but I'm going to just cancel and exit out of the program. So Pear Deck, again, is a great resource for building in some of those components that really elevate SEL in your classroom. So again, you can start from scratch with something that you've already done and you add to it, or you can just take what Pear Deck has already put together and tweak that to fit your needs. One of my all-time favorite tools is Book Creator. And one of the many things that I love about it is that it is just so user-friendly. It is a blank canvas that can be used for whatever comes to your imagination. And so what you'll notice on the right is really an example of how simple this tool is. And so if you've not used it before, you basically are going to add different elements to the blank page. And so you've got 2 buttons that are going to be your best friends. You've got the yellow circle with the plus symbol in there, and then the blue letter I to the right. So the plus symbol is where you're going to add elements. And so as you can see, you can add images. The camera is there, and this is a great tool also because all of these features are built into the program. So your kids don't have to go to outside programs to incorporate these features. And so that keeps them all in one place. It keeps it simple. And so that camera allows you to embed a photograph if you want to have them take a selfie if they're doing an all about me, that it also allows them to do a recording. And the other thing that's really powerful about Book Creator that I should mention is that there are countless accessibility features that are built in. So if you are adding in a video, it allows you to incorporate captions. Down at the bottom, you see that there's a record button, so you can record audio, which again has the accessibility component of having a transcript that is in there as well. You've got your pen for drawing, you can add text. And so the gist of this is that whatever you add to your page will be an object. Whatever object you click on, when you click then on the blue eye, the options will change to match whatever object it was. So for example, if I add a text box to the page and then click on the letter I, I'm going to see options that will allow me to format my text. If I add an option to add an image on my page, click on it, go to the letter I, all of my options are now going to be pertinent to the image, which will give me things like I can crop it, I can move it to the front, I can move it to the back, and so on. So really that's the gist of it, is adding an object, manipulating it, moving it, blank canvas, super easy, and has accessibility features built in. So our focus for tonight, of course, is SEL. So some of the examples that we're going to share for that revolve around SEL components. And so an All About Me journal, a well-being journal there. And again, everything is linked in the slide deck that you will get later. And so one of the activities that I did with an amazing media specialist with her fourth graders is that they had been studying grit, and they'd been studying grit through the lens of storybook characters, through the content of various historical figures. And so at the conclusion of all of those units, they then got the opportunity to create their own book on how they embrace grit. And so what we did was we created a template for them so that we gave them some starting point, but we also wanted to give them a chance to practice all of the different tools. So we were a little intentional about what our directions were so that they got an opportunity to add text, to add an image, to add a video, to add an audio recording, and have a little fun with some emojis, and then draw something. And so we do have a link there to the template if you would like to do that with your students. And so when you click on that link, it's going to look like this. And so it would give you the chance to, down at the bottom, remix this book, which basically means you're going to use it as a template. But for the sake of tonight, I'm going to just show you what it looks like. And so here's my ebook. And these are the blank pages. So I'm not in the editable version right now. I'm just in the end product of what it would look like when you were all done. But it is a template. And so again, just introducing themselves, some challenges that they faced, how they showed grit by drawing it out, how they overcame their challenge. And so we started with that. And that was the last page in the book, but they do have the option to add more pages if they wanted to, because we never want to limit their creativity. And so another link that we will share with you is, as a template, is a book that's called Writing Prompts. So you probably don't want to use all of them, but you might want to grab some of them. And so in this book, there are some there that look a little familiar, but there's countless more that you could borrow and use in your own. And so I'm going to just go back here for a moment and jump into a plain an empty book here just real quick. And so if I go to pages here, I've just got 3 blank pages. But as I mentioned before, if you come up here to the plus symbol, here's where I can add my different elements. And then here's my eye. where right now it's showing options pertinent to the page because I don't have anything on my page. Anything that I would add, like if I were to add, my name, simple text, nothing fancy. But again, if I click on the letter I, the I now changes to show me some options that would be pertinent to formatting this text. And so when you go to those different templates, you will see it in a layout like this, and you can delete pages, you can add pages, you can move pages, you can make it your own. But sometimes it's nice just to start with a template. So another one is what's in a name. So here's one that Carol and I used in a previous workshop where we had folks join in and we did it collaboratively. So I should mention that Flip is a free application. Minecraft for Education is a free application. Book Creator is a free application. With that being said, one of the features in Book Creator, though, that is not free is the real-time collaboration. So there are a lot of workarounds, but functionality, premium, and you get all the functionality that you can in the paid version as with the free version, with just a couple limitations, and one of them is real-time collaboration. And so what we did was we made this a real-time collaboration project. And so we introduced ourselves with our photos. We also recorded using the audio button an introduction to ourselves. So again, gave an opportunity to see our faces, hear our voice, hear the correct pronunciation of our names, which would be a really helpful tool to have as you're getting to know your students those first couple weeks, and for students to get to know one another. And then they each took a page and introduced themselves. So another idea for you as well. And then Book Creator does have a book that's already put together that gives you some additional ideas of how you might use this tool to incorporate some of those SEL components that we've been talking about. So again, Book Creator is an amazing tool, very versatile, and blank canvas can be used in so many ways, but we are highlighting how you might use it with your students and SEL. One of the last tools that we want to share with you is a newer tool. Some of you that might be diving into the world of artificial intelligence might be familiar with this tool. But if you're not, if you think about Nearpod and Pear Deck and how they bring interactivity to your presentation, CuraPod is similar in that way. It does have the opportunity for you to add some interactions to the slide deck. It could be the poll. Carol earlier did a Menti with you. You can do word clouds in here. You can do the drawing feature. So it has some parallels to Nearpod and Pear Deck, but it has AI as a part of it to help you get started, which is what makes it extraordinarily powerful. So we're going to jump into this one. And so I've already created one. So this is also a free tool. There is a paid version to it. The paid version used to be the one that gave you unlimited lessons, and the free one only gave you a few. They have recently changed that so that the free version also has unlimited number of lessons. So the big difference, one of the big differences between the paid and the free is that the paid version does have some additional translation features for you. But we're going to use the free version. So we're going to create a lesson. So we're going to start from scratch. And you can see here on the left, here are some of those activities and ways that you can add some interactions to it. But we're going to start with a blank one. So we're going to say we're going to generate some slides from scratch. And since our topic of the night is SEL, we're going to just add SEL. And I could choose which grade level. We'll go with 5th grade just because it's sort of in the middle. If I had specific objectives and standards that I wanted to address, I could copy, paste, type those there. I'm going to leave it blank for right now. It's going to create a full lesson for me, and I'm going to say, do the magic. And so here's where the AI is coming in, because it's taking all of my criteria and it just generated a slide deck for me. So we're going to use it as is right now. But what you can see is that it's got some images in the background already. It's got text already there for me. And we're going to make this go live and we'll talk through it as we're doing it. So if you could once again grab your phone, mobile device, you can go to Curi, CURI.live, and then enter in that PIN number, 932092. And we'll give a moment for folks to join our CuriPod. Keeping in mind that the only thing that I did was typed in a topic and a grade level, and CuriPod generated the entire thing that you're going to see. And then it'll give you a chance, if you want to type in your real name. As the teacher and what we see publicly, we're going to see only the made-up names that CuriPod is going to put in. So it typically gives some silly names. So you will be anonymous. And it'll tell you what your nickname is. Give people a few moments here to join. I can see that 29 people have joined. So at the bottom here, I can see all of, turn that down so it has built-in sound. So I can see all of you in here with your lovely names that are joyful for a Friday afternoon in August. All right. So you'll see in the lower right-hand corner too, you have the option to determine how much time you want different slides to be displayed for. So again, on these interactive ones, you won't see it on the ones that are just content, but this is one where you're going to add, this is a word cloud. So this is similar to what Carol showed with Mentimeter, but we're doing it now within CuriPod. So I'm going to reduce this down just for the sake of time. I'm going to take that down to 20 seconds. And I'm going to press play. And on your end, you should see a countdown and a chance to tell us what SEL means to you. Now with students, I would probably give a little more than 20 seconds, but for the sake of demonstrating. All right. And now if I show it, you can see the word cloud and we can have some conversation around that. One of the things that I like about this word cloud is that if you noticed, while you were typing in your information, you were not seeing what was on the screen. So for some kids, that's a comfortable feeling because it can feel stressful sometimes if you're seeing all those words populating on the screen and you're stuck and you don't know what to enter. So it almost gives you that space to have some think time. And then when time's up, the whole word cloud goes live for everybody. And so that's a nice feature of that. And again, you can adjust the time to be what you'd like it to be. And so here we have some content that, again, was generated through AI within CuriPod. And so it gives us a little bit more, gives us some information about it and some of the concepts that go with it. So things that you've heard Carol and I talk about throughout this time, some self-awareness, self-regulation, self-esteem. And now I have another interaction here. So this time it's a poll. And so it says, what do you think is the most important aspect of self-esteem? And I will reduce this down to 20 seconds again, just for the sake of time, not to stress anybody out. And so I'll make that go live again, just so you can see what a poll looks like within CuriPod. So you'll see that it's populated it with some responses already. And we're down to the 5-second countdown. And then you can see how people responded. So a couple of things I want you to notice. One is notice on your device how there's nothing to see on there. It's actually giving you directions to look back onto the big screen. So it helps kids stay focused. But now we could ignite in a conversation here because there's no right or wrong answer here. This is the opportunity to ignite a conversation. And so moving along, again, we have some content that's on here with images that were pre-populated. And another opportunity, we'll skip over this one, but similarly, a question was posed, what does it mean to you? And this one would be more of like a short response question. How can it be used in our school? So another one that's a short response. How can you show kindness and empathy towards a friend who is feeling sad or upset? This one is an example of feedback. So I will take this one down again. This one would need more time, so I'll give 30 seconds for this one. And just so you can experience some of these different responses. So again, this is more of an open response. And with kids, you would need more than 30 seconds. But the nice thing again is that everybody is anonymous, and this provides us an opportunity to engage in conversation, perhaps in one of the community meetings that was mentioned earlier. And here are some of the responses that were displayed. So again, a great place to have conversation and ignite a discussion. And another one, and usually what they have in here, and I didn't see it for this one, I'm going to go ahead and end the lesson. This is actually the first one that I've done that has not done it, but ordinarily when it creates a presentation for you, it weaves in some brain breaks. So they're usually really silly, where they have you get up and do things or draw. So I'm surprised that it didn't include that in there. But when you are done, it gives you now this feedback that everything that you had students respond to, you're going to see what those responses were. And so by default, again, it's going to show you your fictional names, but if you wanted to, and I won't do that here just to keep everybody anonymous, but I could toggle that so that I could see all of the students' real names. If I go back to this slide deck, though, you may, as you were looking at it, thinking that, okay, there was a lot of text on those slides. Maybe I didn't like, I wanted to delete a slide. You can go in here and you can customize anything that you want. So you can edit the text, you can delete, you can add new slides if you wanted to. So it's very customizable. But the nice thing is it gives you a starting point. But again, you can customize it how you want. And so other things that you can do is you can add some of those activities to it as well. So it gave you some to start, but you can see here that they have some additional one, and they actually have a tab here just for SEL. And so there's one of your brain breaks. And so we'll say, do some magic, show us what a brain break might look like. And so draw a monkey juggling bananas while jumping on a trampoline. Draw a monkey flying a rocket to the moon with bananas on his hand. Draw a squirrel playing a guitar and singing at a karaoke bar. So just some silly ways that you can, and I like the squirrel one, so I'm going to just add that one. And so that one I just added to my slide deck. And again, so you can customize it. So a lot of flexibility, but you don't have to start from scratch. With that being said, just like Nearpod, just like Pear Deck, if you have a presentation that you've already made, you can import that into CurePod. So you're starting with your own work, and then you come back in here and you can add some of those activities if you would like. So it's a great tool, very versatile, and a great way to leverage technology to elevate the SEL in your classroom.
All right, so remember that big question that we asked you at the beginning, how can we leverage technology to integrate SEL into the classroom? So there were so many digital tools that we discussed today, including making mood scales with Canva, creating that virtual calming or self-regulating room. Minecraft has the immersion worlds like Empathy Village, which I loved. Pear Deck can be incorporated for SEL check-ins or brain breaks. How about Book Creator can be used to really extend students' thinking and have them be very creative and maybe perhaps journal about their emotions. And then, of course, we have CurePod as well. That was really interesting because we were able to have something created for us, and then we could change it to meet our students' needs. So thinking about all those tools and this phrase, change is great, but you go first. So embracing that idea, change is great, you go first. How will you kickstart your journey of integrating social emotional learning into your classroom? I want you to type your reflection into the chat. And then when I count to 3, we're all going to press enter in unison to embark on this collaborative jump forward. So that we're going to place our reflections in the chat. Again, we're reflecting on how will you kickstart your journey in integrating social emotional learning into the classroom. And we're going to take that leap together. Are you ready? All right, 1, 2, 3, hit enter. Look at us. In unison, we are embarking on this collective jump forward. Ooh, somebody said, I can't wait to use the mood scales. Nice. They're going to kickstart by using Canva. Oh, they're going to, CuriePod. Someone loved CuriePod. They're going to use Pear Deck. These are great things to start with. Excellent. Fun little scales. Oh, using GIFs. That is wonderful. Lots of different ways that we're going to kickstart our learning. So we hope that you have thought about one of the tools that maybe you can integrate into your classroom maybe within that first week of school. Try it out. We'd love to hear how it's going. So feel free to contact Judy and I if you need help or if you need support or if you want more tools or more resources. We're here for you. And you'll notice that there is a bit.ly on the screen. You can use that QR code or that bit.ly link to get access to some of the resources for today. Hey, and we are a resource too, again, so don't forget to write down our email addresses. We can't wait to hear how this worked out in your classroom. Judy, I'll send it over to you.
Thanks, Carol. And I just wanted to reiterate again that we are so appreciative that you guys took an hour out of your busy lives to spend with Carol and I. We hope that all of you are walking away with at least one new idea and one new something that you can use with your students first thing as you all head back to the classroom. And then another reminder that a link to the slide deck and to the recording will be emailed to you so that you will have that as well. So again, thank you. And we hope you guys have a great weekend.
Thanks, everyone.